to Oak Park Beer Makers. I'm your host, Howie Brewster. Today we're going to make a nice German beer called a Weizen beer. Weizen actually means wheat in German. So, therefore, we're going to make a wheat beer. This is different than the normal beers we make in America, which are generally the Pilsners. Before I get into that, let me show you exactly what kind of equipment we'll be using today and throughout the brewing process. First thing you're going to need is something to steep your grains in, what's called the mashing process. Use a small, low-profile pot with some cheesecloth or other filtering material and a colander inside. So we have the filtering material here, which I use. Very nice to put the grains in and let them soak. And then a colander inside here, which works as well to keep the grains from going into the water. It's also easy to pull the grains back out after the mashing process. Now the second pot you're going to want to use is a very large 5-gallon pot. Use this for the rolling boil, or basically the overall brewing process. The beer will be in here for about 60 minutes while we add in our salts, our hops, and other ingredients for our particular beer. Once we finish with this, we're going to move into our primary fermenter. The primary fermenter is a large 7-gallon bucket like this. Oftentimes there is some writing on the side so you can tell how many gallons it is. We'll fill this guy all the way up and we'll do our fermenting here for about 3 or 4 days before moving into our secondary fermenter. This is the primary fermenter. We'll use this first. Some other equipment you may want to use during this process, though not always necessary, is a thermometer. A thermometer like this is one to use for actually putting it into the liquid. This thermometer will float and you can tell the degrees right there. I don't prefer this one, but some people do. I prefer this one over here, which is one I hang off the edge of the pot and have this guy stick into the liquid, and that'll tell me the actual degrees. There's another thing here we call a cleaner. After we've finished with all our brewing, we're going to clean the pot. That's very useful. Also, after our brewing, before our primary fermenting, we use what's called a sacchometer. A sacchometer tells us how much sugar is actually in the liquid that we're going to use for the brewing, or for the fermenting, of course. We measured it when we start fermenting in the primary fermenter, and then afterwards when we're about to bottle. The difference, of course, would be how much alcohol is actually in the beer. The next thing you want to do after you've brewed everything and it's fermented, get yourself 2 cases of beer. Actually, there's no beer in here, it's just the empty bottles. 2 cases of bottles is what 5 gallons of beer really comes out to be. So we'll get the 2 cases and we'll put our beer into that eventually. Of course, you also need a bottle cap and a capper. This guy goes right on top of the bottle. Quick, there you go. Got your cap on, nice and secure. Now, to get the beer into the bottle, one of the good things is to use a large hose like this that has a stopper on the end. Just squeezes the hose so the beer doesn't come out all the way. Something else very, very convenient is this bottler. This has a plunger on the end. Now, this plunger, you take it and you stick it into the bottle like this. Push it down, the beer flows into the bottle very quickly. Pull it back up and the beer stops. This is very convenient because when you switch from bottle to bottle, you won't spill that much. God forbid you spill any beer, right? Okay, we're all set for that. And now let's get into our brewing process by first introducing the beer that we're going to use today. Well, I just finished bringing my water to a boil and pouring in my grains. Remember, I'm using 4 grains for this particular batch. These grains here. I'll let that sit for about 45 minutes, making sure that all the grains are deep into the water. That way they can all soak in and make sure we get as much sugar and other things that are necessary to make our beer. In the meantime, why don't we do something that every beer maker seems to enjoy, and that is sampling his last bottle of brew. That's right. We'll just pour this guy in here, and you'll notice that this is quite a different color than most beers that you make. This is slightly darker. It has an amber color to it. This is the standard beer. Standard Weizen beer. Very nice. Notice also there's a line on here which tells you how high to actually fill it. At least in Germany it does. This is a unique German glass. Also tells you that American bottles are kind of small. So why don't we take a sip to remind us what it was last time. That is good beer. That is really, oh, wow. I really do taste the wheat in this, and also, the typical beer flavors. This is wonderful beer. I'm glad I'm going to make another batch. Well, wait about 45 minutes, come back and see how our brew is cooking up. In the meantime, I'm going to put some hot water into the big bucket so we don't waste any time with that. Get that boiling because that takes forever. Welcome back. Our mashing process went smashing. And now it's time to drain our grains and put it into a larger pot for about 60 minutes. We'll add our hops and our salts and get the whole process boiling. But first, we have to drain our grains. So we're going to take the grains from here, using the colander, and put it into the larger pot on the top so they drain through. Then we'll take the liquid from the smaller pot, pour it into the larger pot, and get all the sugars that we need for the process. I'll just do that. There we go. Oh, wow. That wasn't supposed to happen. Never usually falls through the bottom. Let's see here. I think I can get that back out, but let me just check. Yeah, that's what, just about 140, which is about what a hot tub is, I think. So bear with me for a moment. Okay, you can always recover from these types of things. And here we go. Oh yeah, yeah, man, what was I thinking? Jeez. Oh. Welcome back. Sorry for the interruption, but I guess I forgot to put in the, well, you kind of saw what happened. Anyway, don't worry, the beer is fine. It's fine. So, in the interest of saving time, I brought the big pot to a boil. I've strained the grain, and right now we're going to pour in our first set of hops and our salts. Okay, we're going to add in our first set of hops, which are the Mount Hood hops. We'll just dump those right in there like that. I've already added in our Gibson salts, so what we'll do next is just give this guy a little bit of syrup. Be careful, it's hot water. Okay. And we'll set our timer for 40 minutes. And when we come back, we'll do our second set of hops and our Irish moss. That smells good. Well, it's been 40 minutes since we started our boiling. And now it's time to put in our second set of hops. Now our second set of hops is the crystal hops. So I'll just pour them in like that, okay? And we want to put in some Irish moss, which is for clarity, whatever that means. So just put in a little bit of that guy. Give it a little stir. And we set it again for another 20 minutes so we can put our, wait, normally you want to turn off the heat before you put in the hops. So I'll just do that now. And then you turn it back on. There. Now that we've done everything right, we can set our timer for another 20 minutes. And when we come back, we'll put in our last set of hops and then pour it into our primary fermenter. Till then, I'm going to keep sampling my beer. We're back. Me, myself, and I. Our pot has been boiling for about 60 minutes. That's 60 minutes. And now it's time to put in our last set of hops. So I'll just do that. We have the Spalt hops. We put in last. Let's put that in. And then we just give it a little swirl. And then we turn off the heat like that. So now we're ready for our final step before putting it into the primary fermenter. We need to cool down the water so that it's a good temperature for the yeast. Right now, the water is at 200 and 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. And, yeah. So what I did was put some cold water and ice into the sink, and I'm going to move the bucket over to the sink to cool it down. Remember to use your pot holders because it's hot. So, I forgot how heavy 5 gallons of beer can be. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, God! Oh, that's hot! That's hot! Oh, God! That's hot! Oh, burn! Well, that will complete our process for making beer. I have cooled down the beer and put it into our fermentator. And I've also baked in the yeast. Now, all you need to do is let it sit for about 3 or 4 days before you put it into your secondary fermentator. And that's all there is to it. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed watching me make beer as much as I enjoyed making it. So next time, I'm Howie Brewster. Enjoy making beer.